G'day and welcome to the build table. Today the ZOHD, what's it called? Hang on. Talon GT Rebel. I knew that because you get stickers. Look, you get stickers. Yeah, everyone loves stickers. So you get lots of stickers, heaps of stickers, so you can decorate it up to suit yourself, although I generally don't use the stickers. But this is it. This is the long range, well, I suppose you can fly it close if you want to, FPV V-tail, an inverted V-tail model that was sent for review. Always disclose it. They sent me this to review, but it's not going to make a difference to my opinions. I'll tell you what I think. Right, first of all, it's made of foam, and it's a biodegradable foam, apparently, BEPP. This is a new one. We've got EPP. This is BEPP, says on the sticker, biodegradable EPP. So when you crash this miles from anywhere and it just sits there and rots away, although your motors and your batteries and your ESC and your linkages and your servos will be there for the rest of eternity, the airframe will disappear. So in 1,000 years' time, when an archaeologist stumbles across your lost ZOHD Talon GT, they'll just find the wiring and the bits. What happened? What's this? Unless it gets fossilized, of course, in which case it'll be preserved in all its glory. But enough of this trivia. What do you get for your money? Well, it's like there's not a hell of a lot to it. This is looks like it's going to be a very, very, very quick build. You get a fuselage, you get a tail, all the servos are already installed. See that? It's all installed. And just to make life even easier, it's got connectors here that mate to the fuselage. So you're getting really a plug and play. It's a real plug and play because you don't even have to plug your servo wires in. Just when you put the tail on, it connects it all up. Same goes with the wings. And they're quite small wings. I've got to say, these wings are not that big. But you've got servos pre-installed, ZOHD branded servos, and the wiring runs down to here, and there's your little connector there, and there's actually two. See, there's two? So there is another spare servo lead here, which, well, not servo, because if you look even closer still, see there's pieces here in the foam that you can knock out or cut out. They're pretty cut out already. And then there's wiring paths down here. So you can put your video transmitter or your radio control transmitter out here on the wing, and on the mating top surface you can see there is a circle you can push out for your antenna to come through. So it's very well thought out. This is a model that it's not like getting a Bixler or something off the shelf and then deciding to throw FPV in it. It's designed from the ground up to be FPV. So it makes life so much simpler when you're an FPV flyer and you want something real quick and easy. So we've got two wings, one for each side, which otherwise it would fly very, very strangely. It's a carbon rod to hold it all together. You know, it's only protruded, so it will split in a crash if you have a really bad crash, but probably that's the least of your troubles. Shiny, look, shiny metal stickers. Ooh, they're primo. You get some nuts and bolts, some standoffs. You get these little sub-dorsal V-tail fins. These fit up the other way. Now, this is something that I found rather interesting. This is a V-tailed aircraft. Normally, when you have a V-tailed aircraft, it's for two reasons. But the predominant reason is, first of all, there are some aerodynamic efficiencies supposedly to be had from a V-tail configuration, but they are minimal and they're debatable because you actually need, more area. You only have two tips to create vortexes, but you've got more area, which, is more drag. So the main reason that you have V-tails is on things like gliders, where you don't want the tail getting knocked around on landing. Gliders have to land in grassy fields and things. They want the tail out of the way. That's why you see a lot of T-tail gliders. So the tailplane is up there well above the ground on the landing. And you see V-tail ones, so that the tips of the tail are well above the ground on landings. Now, in this case, they've gone for V-tail. But then, I don't know why, because having to have these underneath, they become very vulnerable, obviously, because they give you two of them. They expect you to break them. They are foam. There's no carbon in these. They're just plain old foam. So I don't know, and if you're landing on seal or something, they're probably going to get worn away. If you're landing on grass, they'll probably get broken. We'll find out though, we'll find out. And I will also fly it without these and see if they're really necessary, because if they've designed it properly, there should be enough area in the V-tail. You don't need that sub-dorsal. It's not going to contribute a hell of a lot to the stability of the model. Now looking up the back end, very uncomfortable. We have to do it for a review. Looking at the back end, this is very much a plug and play. So we've got a motor. It's again ZOHD branded, and it is, if I can see on my camera, 22. Oh damn! Should have worn my glasses. 22 something 6, 1300 kV. So that's the motor that does all the pushing. There you go. Just put a prop on, and you're good to fly. And then we have an ESC. It's another ZOHD branded 40 amp ESC, and it has a 3 amp beck in it. Now, that's fine for the servos. I wouldn't run your flight controller and your FPV gear off that ESC. 3 amps is okay, but it could be marginal. You get a stalled servo and then bad things happen. And I've seen some reports recently, people using iNav and they're getting voltage spikes and it's causing INAV to lock up. So yeah, you want a very clean supply for your flight controller, your really sophisticated electronics. So I wouldn't take it from the same device that chops up the power and sends it to your motor. Yeah, but oh, hey, great. That's for flight work, for the flying side of things, the ESC is going to be more than adequate. Now, if we take a look towards the middle, one thing I like about this is it's really quite nicely designed and put together. Here's a little plastic cover. If we take that out, you can put your GPS under there, and it even says GPS for those who don't know what it's for. These little covers are really nice. They snap into place with magnets, and there's plenty of meat on this end here so that they're not going to rip out at the front. Magnets are there. So yeah, that's nicely made. Nice piece of EPP. It's black, so it's going to popcorn. When you leave this in the sun, it's going to look really shitey after just a few hours in bright sunlight. That's unfortunate. Personally, I'd kind of like to have the whole model white and then paint it if I want to, because this just popcorns like no one's business. Never mind, that's just not a major thing. It's not a deal breaker. And if we look inside, nice. It's very nice because, again, as I said, they've got these plugs for the connection to the wings and things. This is all, look, they've even put a cable, no, it's a twisty tie on there. Well, it's not very sophisticated, I suppose, but the wiring is in place. What do we got here? Oh, look, we've even got a JST that's going to provide, that's BEC power from the, well, that's actually a bit of a shame, really, to be totally honest. That provides the BEC power. Where's the servo connector? Does that have a power feed as well? Where's the throttle connection? Come on, hurry up. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. The throttle connection also has the 5-volt supply, because normally you're only going to want that, you mightn't even want to power your receiver, but if you want to power your receiver, yeah, power your receiver and then your servos through that. But there's an auxiliary 5-volt lead if you want to power something that draws a little more current. Although, as I say, I wouldn't really recommend it. That other stuff, your flight controller and GPS, your FPV gear, you really want to power that from a separate BEC if you want to be absolutely safe. Now down in here, brilliant, look, they've already got the platform for your flight controller with the standard spacings, and they've even provided the plastic standoffs in the box, so you can just plop your flight controller there. And in case you were in any doubt, if you're completely dyslexic, they've even got an arrow telling you where the front of the model is, as if you couldn't work that out from the fact that the motor's at the back. Anyway, obviously designed for complete idiots, and therefore it'll be a very quick build for me, because I fit the criteria. Up front, another one of these snappy hatches, woohoo, very nice. And it's even branded ZOHD. But again, black, it's going to popcorn like hell. What the hell, who cares? In here we've got our battery compartment and our camera compartment. There's a battery strap already installed, which is good because getting battery straps through there and underneath, it's a pain in the ass when they've already glued the plywood in, isn't it? We have an XT60 connector for the battery. Thank you for not putting a Deans on there like so many manufacturers still do to this day. What's wrong with them? And we've got carbon reinforcement. Now, I gather with some of the other ZOHD models, people were complaining because when they did nose landings, and if you don't know what a nose landing is, you've never flown a model, when they did nose landings, the nose fell off. This one's got some carbon. I don't know if it's enough to make a real difference, but I guess we'll find out when I do a nose landing. And just in case you've forgotten what you bought, it's even got the name of the craft laser etched into the plywood. There you go, fantastic. Now, up front, in the, let me see if I can turn this around. Might have to do a reposition of the camera here, but I'll show you from in the back for a start. We've got the camera setups. Now this takes a high definition recording camera and your FPV camera. Now if you look deep down inside there, which you probably can't because the camera angles are all wrong, but down in there, there is space for something about the size of a Runcam 3S, probably a GoPro or a Runcam 2, and they give you little foam blocks, which are carefully identified. So yeah, if you've got a GoPro session, this is the piece of foam you use to make sure that it all fits nice and tidily inside the front there and doesn't fall out. There's another one here for the Runcam 2 HD, as you can see by the writing on the foam. And what else have we got? There's selection, isn't there? What's this one say? Oh, there's the Runcam 3S one. So yeah, if you've got one of those cameras, nothing for the GoPro Hero. Maybe that just squeezes in as it is, I don't know. I don't have a GoPro Hero, so I will never know. Yep, or maybe this is for the GoPro Hero. What does this say? Oh, here we go, little piece of foam. Yes, look, here we go. If you've got a GoPro Hero 5, 6 or 7, you can use this piece of foam to hold it in. Fantastic. Now, this is the things that make a difference between just getting a store-bought EPP model and throwing FPV gear into it and something that's designed for FPV, because all the stuff that's a real pain in the backside when you're doing it from scratch is taken care of. It's got the bits and pieces, just push and play. It's great. And there's also a little slot on the right-hand side down there, if you can see it, for your live FPV camera, because I would never recommend using your recording camera as a source of FPV footage. You really want to have a separate camera because much less chance of getting lockups and things, lower latency, and all around better experience. And up the front, as I said, should get a better thing. We've got the FPV camera there and our recording camera here or here, depending on what model or make you use. And that really is an ugly looking plane. It's so ugly at the front. But I guess it's practical. It's just practical. And function defines form, so that's what they've done here. This is designed to do a job. Other nice little things like here's captured thumbnail screws to hold the wings on. So you never lose these because there's a little washer holds them. They won't fall out. Woo, that's brilliant. And even on the tail setup here, I mean, I am quite impressed by the engineering, I have to say. Not only do we have that sort of automatic plug-in connection thing, so when I do this, it just, if I can get things to go together, oh, what have I done? Have I trapped a wire or something? No, it's just stubborn. It's stubborn. It's new. It's new. There we go. So we've got this set up here, and all I have to do is turn this, if I can, and that's locked the tail in place. Look at that, see? That little thing, so tail's locked in place, servo's plugged in. This will break down for transport so easily. It's brilliant. And despite the fact that it's a small model, and I certainly probably wouldn't break it down for transport anyway, but if you do have a small, need to backpack it or something, hey, this is a dream. It's a breeze. That's it. So I think what I have to do now, I was going to do a look over my shoulder while I build it, but seriously, it's not really a build, is it? The only time you have to get any tools out is to put these little sub fins on, because they screw into the already pre-drilled holes in this. Are they pre-drilled? Yeah, laser holes. That little sub fin assembly goes in here. Whoops. Goes in there like that somehow. There you go. Goes in there like that. So that's the only time you have to get your screwdriver out even. Everything else is automatic. It's like, woohoo, brilliant. So I'm not even going to do an over-the-shoulder build because it would be so quick, it'd only be a couple of frames. Plug the wings in, tighten the bolts, screw the sub fins on, push the tailplane on, twist the top, put my battery and receiver in. Good to go, because I'm going to do line of sight first. We'll go and, before we put FPV in it, we'll knock some new off it by flying at line of sight and see how we get on then. Then I'll put the FPV gear in, and I'll probably do a separate video for that, because that'll be far less exciting, I suspect. And of course, the other thing is I'm not going to show you how to do all your FPV stuff. Everybody has their own preferred flight controller, their own preferred FPV cameras and everything. I'll show you how I do mine, but I'm sure everyone will be doing theirs slightly different. So there's no point in me showing you too much detail there, unless you want it. If you do want it, say so in the comments, and I shall accommodate you. But there we go. That's what you get in the box, and that's how simple this damn thing is to go together. That's how nicely engineered quite a bit of it is, except, I'm not a fan of these sub-dorsal fins, and I will be flying. I hope it flies without them, because I just leave the damn things off. They're just a nuisance. Just something else to break when I do one of my landings. There you go. So let's, well, I'll do a jump cut to the finished model now.
Whatever. It's making some really odd noises.
It's loose.
No, it's tight, but it's... Maybe it's just air, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So on the first flight, before the first flight, the motor started making a bit of a racket. I thought it might have been air flowing over the rear end of the fuselage. Sometimes you get vortices and turbulent flows, can make a bit of a noise. So I flew anyway, and it got progressively worse throughout the flight. Then on the second flight, basically the motor started to lose a lot of power. Obviously something was seriously wrong. So I got the motor, and this is it's the ZOHD branded motor. It looks very much like a Sunny Sky with different writing on it. So it may even come out of the same factory, but if we look closely, we can see exactly what the problem is. If we look in here, you can see the magnets actually poking through. See that magnet there? Well, those two there have come right through. They've actually come loose, obviously. They've come loose. So what I might do is take the bell of the motor off, and I expect some of the magnets will simply fall out. So here we are. We've got the circlip off the motor. I'm going to pull it apart. You can see the magnets are obviously, in fact, oh, can I get it apart? Yes, I can. Look at that. Look at this. Look, this is terrible. These magnets, they're all just completely higgledy-piggledy. It's a mess. It's a dog's breakfast. So this motor is toast. Yeah, probably can't even push them back in. So yeah, it's not supposed to look like that, people. That's why it doesn't run very good. So that's probably not ZOHD's fault. They will have bought this from a manufacturer, and Manufacturer should have done their own quality control. But obviously, I don't think they used any glue in this one. Probably no glue, which is why, yeah, because see these magnets, let's just have a look here. I'll try and get one. There's no glue. If I hold this around, hopefully we can see in there. Can we see? Not much in the way of light, actually, it's pretty bad. But this bugger all glued. There should be epoxy in here holding this all together. There's nothing. There's nothing. The magnet's just sitting in there. So it missed the glue stage. Now, I haven't heard of many other, or any other people having this problem, so it's probably just reviewer's curse. Probably just my one. Fortunately, as I say, I had some Sunny Sky motors exactly the same, down to the, you know, even the screws and everything. So I threw that in, flies perfectly. There you go. For the money, you want top quality. Motor wasn't top quality in this case, but as I say, just probably a one-off. But if you've, you know, just keep an eye out on the other reviews, see if anyone else spots similar problems with their ZOHDs. I don't think they will, but yeah, there you go. That's flying much better without their piece of polystyrene on the back, I've got to say. So I'll trim it. We've got full throttle. Yeah, that's okay. That's not climbing like a rocket. That's good. But it does need a bit more up trim for cruise. And for the glide. Need to put the brake on the ESC. It's freewheeling at the moment. For the weight, it's got quite good low-speed performance, I've got to say. Needs more up trim. That CG is too far forward, I think, on the recommendation. On the marks that they provide, the CG is way far forward.
Minimum trim reached.
It's got maximum up trim on now, and it still drops its nose quite a bit in the glide. So I'd say the CG is a little far forward, even with my putting it through the back thinners on the plans. It can still go back further, I think. But it requires very little power. It's certainly a good model for distance because it needs so little power to actually stay in the air. It's brilliant, it's very efficient, and it glides well too. I noticed it does, you have to use a bit of rudder on the turns, it does hang its tail. So don't be tempted just to make it a bank and a yank. Make sure you put rudder in it.
Jesus, I'm terrible at this though.
Yeah, most people
Sorry.
are. Most people are. We'll try landing. Should be easy. If you stand in front of me for the landing, then I won't block your view. Try not to land on that piece of foam. Perfect. So there we have it. That's the ZOHD Talon GT whatever. Overall summary, it is a really good, it's a perfect long-range FPV model. It's incredibly efficient. Only a tiny amount of throttle required to keep this thing in the air, and I'm running a 5200 milliamp battery. Things I noticed was that the original motor, toast, right out of the box. But it looks like it's a Sunny Sky, and I had one exactly the same sitting on the shelf. A Sunny Sky, same size, same KV rating. It's working fine. So just reviewer's curse, again, as you always get it. I don't know if this is going to be widespread. If it's made by Sunny Sky, it should be a good motor. This one, just they forgot to glue the magnets in. And yeah, there's, as I say, plenty of room. That's the size battery. It's running a 5200, only a low C, but you don't need a high C because this doesn't draw much power. Flew at line of sight this time, didn't put a flight controller in yet, but it flies very nicely. Even when I had the little foam support on the back stuck, I forgot to take it off. Well, I picked it up and threw the model because you don't usually have this extra piece, and it flew with that on, but it handled really poorly. Took that off, flew much better. But I do notice that the recommended CG is too far forward. I believe it's too far forward, which means it has a tendency to climb under power and then dive on the glide. So moving the CG back cures that, and it becomes far more consistent through the power range, which is what I know some of the other ZOHD models, one of the other ZOHD models, people complained that the model itself, it climbed too steeply on power, and no such problem with this. Once you get the CG right, which is just probably 10 mils behind the factory recommended position. for me anyway. So there you go. Yeah, brilliant. I haven't broken the dorsal fins off yet, the little sub-dorsal fins. They're still there, and not too much to criticise it about. I'm going to put a flight control in it now. We'll do some longer range stuff. So yeah, we'll finish perhaps with just a little bit of the Runcam 3 footage, Runcam 3S that I took during the flight. There you go. I'd have to rate this definitely, if we don't include the problems with the motor, it's definitely at a 4.5 out of 5. And I will do a follow-up flight without the sub-dorsals to see whether they're really necessary. They probably are, because it does hang its tail in the turns if you don't use rudder. And so, yeah, it's probably going to be a lot worse without those fins. But I'll tell you, I'll check it out and I'll tell you. That's why you watch this channel, so you don't have to find out for yourself. There you go. Questions, comments, the usual place. Thank you to my Patreon supporters who make all this possible. And thanks for the great weather. It's a fantastic day. So that's it. And I'll spot you later. Bye for now.